right, guys, coming at you from the shop, talk to you about something really exciting for us. We've always had the question since we built Wes Kean a race buggy, when are we going to offer that Rocketship chassis? That answer is now. We went in and took that chassis that we built solely for racing, made a few adjustments, and then we built a couple more of these since then. This one is going to be the next full turnkey that we've done. It's the only other turnkey that we're following all the way through. And with that, we're launching off this new platform of the Rocketship chassis in a trail version or a race version. There's a lot of things that stayed the same, a lot of things that changed. One thing that stayed the same, all the suspension that's underneath this thing is exactly the same. It's got 3 inches longer wheelbase than the original Rocketship, and that comes from putting 3 inches in the middle of the chassis, and we'll talk about why we did that. The geometry numbers and all that stayed exactly the same. Now, this buggy's getting 3.0 5.2 bypasses. The bypasses are a little bit better than what's on Wes's buggy. The zones and stuff have dropped down to mess with some bleeds setting at ride height and whatnot. We're running a 2.0 coil carrier with a remote reservoir, same exact thing as what's on the original Rocketship. In the back, 5-tube, 3-inch bypass, 16-inch travel shock, and a 2-inch coilover shock. We always like to put a set of crane axle 14 bolts in these things. Hey, we build them here. We've got it dialed in, pinion location's perfect, overall track width. We can fit these massive shocks, get all the steering angle that we can get out of a big belt RCV in the front. It's right at 46 degrees turning radius with a 43-inch tall tire, full flex, and nothing rubs or anything else. It's really tight, but it all fits. This one, we've got a 1480 driveshaft kit in, 1480 carrier bearing kit in, so 1480 rear driveshaft in it. All that is super big stuff to hold up to lots of horsepower. This thing is a competition rig and it has a winch. A lot of your rock bouncers now don't have a place for a winch on them. I feel like for a trail rig, you always need a winch, so we definitely got that mounted up front. We've put a variety of drivetrain in these things. We've done LS, Turbo 400, 2-speed Atlas. We've done LS, Turbo 400, Ford MP205, LS, Turbo 400, SCS straight drive, the mini case. This one has LS, 4L80, and a 2-speed Atlas. I'm excited to drive this thing with that 4-speed transmission. Really looking forward to it. CAD data shows that LT engines will absolutely fit a lot of other variety of stuff. I'm just telling you, those other mounts are absolutely what we have built, and we know that they actually fit in here with drivetrain setting and where the seating position is. Seating position is a big thing in this thing. This engine right now has a sheet metal intake on it. Of course, we can fit a blower underneath the hood. We have engine cages designed for naturally aspirated or blowers. Everybody loves to hear the whine of that blower, including myself. With that blower comes bigger power, bigger horsepower. You got to get rid of the heat. We developed a tray and mount system in this thing for a 38-inch wide, 17-inch tall radiator that holds 2 16-inch fans. This is generally what we've only ran in Ultra 4 race cars and whatnot. Really good luck doing it then. I can't tell you how excited I am to have that big of a radiator in this small of a buggy package. It's just awesome. We moved over and we're going to run plate style coolers in this thing. One of the plate style coolers you'll see is for air to water intercooler. The other one's for the transmission cooler. Big coolers on this thing that all mount up. We've got a complete system designed where it goes right in the chassis really easy. All right, so these buggies come set up, ready to go with rear steer. This customer decided to do a straight rear axle, and that's fine. But we know that down the road, he may actually want to put rear steer. We developed this axle with the bump stop pad in mind. We can remove this gusset, trim the end of the tube, use the same shaft that's in here that'll need to be taken out, sent back to us. We'll respline the shaft and then put a CV bell on it to turn this into rear steer. It'll use a crane axle magnum knuckle. It'll use the same unit bearing, same brake kit, same inner axle shaft, and everything is ready to go for rear steering right off the bat. We did a lot of, spent a lot of time in this, just thinking up how is the best way to make the transition from a rear end that we've already spent a lot of money to on, and then we need to take that and go to rear steer. That's the best thing that we've come up with yet for that. But if you don't want rear steer, do a 14 bolt. We've got this spine truss, bump stop pads, everything here has been figured out. So we can put all this in there ready to go. Next thing, talk about is the seats and the seating arrangement. So we've had from the most economical Corbeau suspension seats you can have to this race version of a seat that is a, you know, composite shell, full-on race seat. They all fit. They sit absolutely against the bottom frame rail right on the ground. So the feeling you get driving this thing is unlike anything I've ever drove before. You sit so low in the car and you feel so connected. It's just unlike anything I've ever driven before. Everybody that jumps in the Rocketship to drive it says, man, that thing drives so easy, so quickly. They just adapt to it. And that comes from having a totally redesigned interior to where we can set the seat all the way on the ground. When you do that, our leg is running pretty much right beside the drive shaft. So we built driveshaft protection in this thing out of a full piece of 1/4 inch thick steel. Off that 1/4 inch thick steel, then the interior builds off that. But able to pull out and service the top drive shaft, shifter handles, all that stuff. Drive shaft protection comes out real easy, and you're able to service everything, get the bolts and stuff anyways would be buried into the buggy. We're able to do that now real easy, and it all kind of just completes that interior pieces. So that's what's happening there. Headroom, I'm 6'2", I got plenty of headroom in this thing. If you're a tall guy, if you want to make sure you got room over your helmet, all those things, I can build more headroom into this chassis, no problem. It's actually already been designed, it's already been done once. So no problem at all on that. If you don't want to run the seat that's in here, don't worry, we've got plenty of options for other seats. Another thing we changed on this buggy compared to the original ones, we raised the dash bar in this thing a few inches. That lets us come in and run a manual brake setup if you want to, and have more pedal ratio to the floor. That way you can get a good firm brake pedal. We always like Hydro Boost. That's what we put in everything. So come in here with our regular standard mount, then we developed another mount that adapts the Hydro Boost unit and the brake pedal to the Rocketship chassis, makes everything fit like a glove. Then we did the same thing. We've got this tilt steering column developed, and with that being a universal piece that mounts the orbital valve and everything else, we've got other tabs that mount right off the dash bar to put it right into the Rocketship chassis. We've actually got brackets for this setup to go into our rev chassis and all of our other stuff as well. We're just getting started on interior over here. Got the floor plate in, got the drive shaft protection in, but I want everybody to really look at how easy everything is to reach in this thing. So the buggy's in low range. I'm not even stretched out at all. Go all the way to high range if we want to. Run through all the gears. I've got plenty of room for rear steering. This is actually getting cutting brakes put in it. We're going to put the cutting brake unit right here and actually pull to the side push-pull unit. This is a cool bracket we've got developed right here. Bracket, ARB compressor, ECM mount if you're wanting to run the Holly. Another cool thing that we haven't really released yet, but we've got it and we've used a few of them, is tilt steering column. So tilt steering column goes anywhere we want it to. Weld on your quick disconnect and bung. This is how it comes. It does get shortened up. What's cool about this is, with this being a pinch style mount, we can shorten this column to whatever length we want to get that steering feel in and out where we want it set at. And then just re-drill your hole, shorten the tube down, re-drill the hole, hook up the U-joint, and the orbital valve mounts right there on the back side of it. Tilts up, tilts down, wherever you want it to go. There's a big tray right down through the middle of this thing. This is actually where a lot of the plumbing and stuff has to go in this buggy, because with the seat setting so low, you cannot run fuel fittings or anything else underneath the seat on this thing. Overall, this buggy is absolutely the most comfortable thing I've ever rode in. Like, I like my seating position to be more up and down. We've got it up and down right here. You can do a lean back if you want to. I've got plenty of helmet clearance. I got plenty of headroom. To have this thing for a race car for myself with this seat in this position, I would put the 2-inch raised roof on it. That way I'd have plenty of room around my helmet. If I was just trail riding, I'd leave the roof height where it is now. Overall, it's super comfortable. And top of the roof on the buggy right now, as it's set, is 5 foot 10 inches tall. So, and that's from ride height. That's 22-inch belly pan and the top of the roof there. If we do a 2-inch taller version, then we're still only looking at being 6 foot tall with the raised roof. Any guy can come in here. This also has, this PRP seat's got a thick pad in it. So we've got a lot of different options in how low you can set in the seats and everything else in this thing. So really comfortable. I've got plenty of leg room. I'm gonna end up with plenty of arm room. We're gonna shorten this column down. We're actually gonna build an adapter for where the shock mounts a little bit lower down out of our standard column placement. That way we can get it a little bit further back, get the steering wheel a little bit off of us, because this is kind of far back in this setup. But we'll have all this right here designed and done by the time that this all gets released out. We've got a wiring tray already developed. We're gonna have it developed for the Switch Pro setup, or if you wanna run just regular toggle switches and relays. And then also we've got the battery box and the battery box mount designed for the chassis sitting in it already. All this gets built around a complete interior kit that will fit and be easy enough for a guy at home to do the install on. So that's one thing that we've really kind of held off on, is we wanted to make sure that we had an easy enough interior kit for someone at home to install, and that's coming. And then we have a dash that's coming out that's going to be pretty cool, low setting, and hold either a digital dash or analog gauges, either one, and both of them look fine as they're going together. So a lot of things coming for it, a lot of things you're not seeing now, but they're absolutely in the pipeline, and by the time that these things kind of get up and rolling, they will absolutely be done. Some of the most visible changes to this buggy over the original one to this one is we stepped the rear frame rail down, moved it out, and moved just the other few tubes around a little bit to make room for that massive radiator we already talked about. Got a fuel cell holding over 20 gallons in it. And then we actually have a storage compartment. You can fit a soft tool bag in there. You can fit a soft pack cooler in there, spare parts, whatever you want to do with it. Holds in with these two latches, flip up door, locks up, and it's just clean as it can be. Outboarded bump stops that are right in line with a trailing arm where they need to be to control everything that they got going on. Everybody that we've shown really loves the inlays on the rear shock mounts and stuff. That's stuff that we're doing here that just really kind of step up our game. man, it just takes that piece from being a simple piece of flat metal to something with a little pop to it. We're excited we're able to do it. Another big thing that everybody always asks about, can you put doors on this chassis? The answer is yes. We're gonna do a door, probably split the opening right here, and we're gonna have them open out suicide. That way you can just set right back in the buggy and then hop right out. But I'm really looking forward to building the first one with a set of doors on it. But we've already kind of messed around with some stuff in CAD. It's absolutely gonna be pretty easy and pretty cool when we get it all said and done. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell. A lot of changes went on, a lot of design work. We really took what was pretty standard for all the other Rock Bouncer chassis out there, redesigned everything we could from what was already being done, moved the seat, moved the visibility, moved the ergonomics, everything else we could do and touch on to a chassis that we didn't like over the past years, and this is what we've come up with. I really feel like this is the next step to the game of rock bouncing chassis. I know they perform well. We finally got it to where it's comfortable in storage, good looks, great visibility. It's kind of the total package. So if you guys want to talk about one of these chassis, got any questions, you can email, call, text. You can get a hold of us any which way you can. Think about this chassis. If you want to buy it as a bare chassis, take it home, build it yourself, you're gonna have a company that's been in business for 20 years building buggies. That's who's behind you. We want to see people take these things and get them done. If you want to talk to us about a full turnkey rig, we're here. Love to hear from you. Love to build them. Like I said, this is an exciting time for us. We're really excited to be able to release this. We've kind of just been waiting for the right timing. And we finally got these things pushed to the level of design and background work and everything else to where we can let it go and be happy with the end product and be excited about turning out something new for these customers that that's honestly not just the same old thing warmed over. This is a complete chassis layout and everything else redesigned. This will take the place of our old Rock Bouncer chassis. If you're wanting one of those, better get a hold of us pretty quick, because at some point in time we will cut off and just not build those anymore. This is where we're going to put our focus into. So yeah, guys, check it out, watch the video, look at the pictures, everything else, and give us a shout with any questions or whatever else. We'd love to talk to you about it.